Hey, Angelina County, what do you say? Today is it's number it's December the 1st, 2023. It's at 2:51 p.m. for those of you that are time stamping. Hey, got some news today from hoodline.com is where I actually picked it up from. Anyway, the headline reads Justice peeks through Texas state's veil. Uvalde records to see sunlight after Texas judge directive. Basically, what this says is that in Angelina County, we have a county attorney, Kerry Kirby, and a sheriff named Mr. Selman, and they have denied access to a video that contains the death of Mr. Smallwood. Mr. Smallwood, and let me give you the details on this because it's not going to make sense. I have the autopsy report. I'm not going to read from that today. I'm actually looking at how to actually get the autopsy report on video or on here. So correct me. But anyway, this is what my research has found. At 9:52, Mr. Smallwood was arrested for public intoxication. They didn't say Lufkin PD provided videos. They provided videos for the police officers that were involved in the arrest. One police officer's camera didn't work, but the other ones did. The other one did, and got the arrest entirely on tape. Now, if you look at this video, and I'm going to post these videos, or you can actually put in a freedom request information through the Lufkin PD, and they will gladly send you over the information. Where I got this information was from the actual video of the arrest, the booking report, the people that were on duty at the jail, who the supervisor was, and it all didn't make sense, and I'll explain to you why it didn't make sense. Mr. Small was taken to jail at 9:52 in the evening. He arrived at the jail sometime between 9:52 and it looks like 10 o'clock, 10:15, somewhere along that area. Angelina County Jail said that they placed him into detox immediately. So that time frame would make sense, except for the fact is that in detox, you have to have records of when you checked on the individuals you put in place in detox. In other words, when you go in and you're intoxicated or whatever, they put you in a cell to where they can monitor you every 10 minutes to make sure that you're safe, you're still with us, the whole 9 yards. Because at this point in time, when they had first arrested him or put him in jail, they didn't know what he was intoxicated on. Mr. Smallwell, per the video, was having a psychotic incident, drug related, whatever. Anyway, it appears that it was drug related, but this was not his cause of death. So, in other words, they didn't know what he was detoxing on. They interviewed him at the jail, and they asked him specifically if he had taken K2. The answer was yes. He said earlier today he consumed K2, he consumed K2, and that at that point in time, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but at that point in time, the actual drug he was on had been identified. And then there's a whole different detox method for K2. The only detox you have for K2 is through an IV. You have to put an IV with saline solution into your arm, and it has to wash itself out, if you know what I mean. So, in other words, you got to pee it out. But also, the fact is that it provides saline to you, so you don't dehydrate. So this was not done, even though he had admitted that he had done K2. Now, prior to his arrest, the Lufkin PD, the two officers for the Lufkin PD, were advised by dispatch. They called in his name, they were running for warrants, they were running for whatever, and they popped up. The dispatch came back and says, well, he's AMA. which for you guys, I had a hard time finding out what AMA means. But anyway, he's he's advised medical attention. So in other words, uh, the, the hospital had called this into the sheriff's department and also Lufkin PD. This is confirmed by the fact is that the Lufkin PD said, "Oh, he is AMA." The dispatcher says, "Well, he's not technically AMA." What that means, I don't know. But technically, he was an AMA, although he had been an AMA for the last 24 hours. So he was in need of medical attention. The officer actually confirmed this when he stated over the radio. He said, "Oh, he's AMA." The dispatch came back and says, "Well, not technically." The other officer chimed in, said, he's that guy we've been looking for all day. So they were aware of this guy. They were aware that there was something wrong with him, that he had been reported AMA from a local hospital, and that he was identified as having a medical emergency. So anyway, he did go to the local hospital earlier today, and he was involved in a program which would entail the Burke Center, and he had actually escaped or run away or whatever he did from the program that he was under, and he had wandered in to be detoxed to the hospital. I'm just piecing this together, and there's some things we need to have the video and we need to have, but this is the timeline of what I'm going through now. So at some point in time, he left the hospital. The hospital called in to report him AMA, that there was a medical alert for him, and that he was not finished with his detox. This would explain the fact is that when he left, the spot where he was actually arrested, a street he was arrested on, this street was leading back, or it was in very close proximity to the program and the institution to where he was actually receiving treatment. He was on his way back. So before he was detained. If you watch this video, this individual was psychotic. He was talking to himself. He was talking to other people. He was talking around people that weren't there. Matter of fact, even on the video, the recording, the officer, "Who the hell are you talking to? Who are you talking to, man?" He said, "Oh, it's my girlfriend. She's over there." He said, "Man, there's nobody there. There's nobody there." And periodically he would be talking to people, and it would be like, "Well, who would you, dude? You've lost it." Even to the point to where whenever they put him in the car, the other officer, even, "Man, he's on something. He's not drunk. He's on something." So they identified that he had actually had some kind of drug overdose or some kind of drugs in his system, and he had drugs in his system, acting behaviorally, acting psychotic, acting crazy. And next of all, they learned that he's AMA. Why they didn't initiate going to the hospital at that particular time was because they didn't have the details on this individual, probably because the dispatcher said, "Oh, he's technically AMA." Well, he's not technically AMA, but he is AMA, but not technically. I don't know what that means. But if I'm a police officer and somebody says they're AMA and they need the medical attention, I arrest them, take them to jail, take them to the hospital, put them in custody, wait for the medical personnel to check them out, and then deliver them to the jail. The next issue is that when he was there at the jail, the timeline said that he was unresponsive at 11:36. This is the only entry we have on Mr. Smallwell up until this current time. He said that the jail staff said that he had been monitored or looked at by the nurse. She took his blood pressure medication, and his blood pressure actually registered high. But the medical personnel on the scene said that it was in range of somebody who was intoxicated. So in other words, we have a high blood pressure situation here going because of the drugs or whatever, but we have an individual who's on the high range of his blood pressure and he's currently on drugs, whatever, which would tell everybody he needs to be detoxed. This is what we're doing here is not working. He is actually in physical distress and mental distress, but it still gets worse. Because on the autopsy report, it does say that there was evidence of restraints being issued on this individual. Now, the reason why I'll explain it to you, because on his arms and on his legs where the restraints would go, there was bruising. There was actual physical bruising on these areas. And the other issue is that there was bruises on his chest. The bruises on the chest could be explained because the fact is they issued him CPR to try to save him. So I can buy that, but I don't understand the bruises on his body when they said they didn't put him in restraints. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, also, whenever he arrived at the jail from in the Sally Port to actually going to be booked, he had a contusion on his head, which he didn't. The Lufkin Police Department didn't recognize. It wasn't there when he was arrested. So in other words, when he hit the Sally Port at the jail, something happened to actually cause a big cut on his head where he was bleeding profusely from. We know he was bleeding profusely because the fact is the detox cell where he was put in originally had blood on it, had blood on the floor. How did we know that? Well, because the trustees actually have reported, they want to be renamed nameless, but they were ordered to go in and clean the blood from the cell. So the guy had a contusion, he was bleeding in the cell, and now it's 11:36 and now he's unresponsive. So every 10 minutes you're supposed to especially the person in the detox, you're supposed to check on them. You're supposed to go check on them, make eye contact, make sure that they verbally acknowledge you, and you look at this person's state of mind and of his well-being. There's no log produced by the sheriff's department that shows that this actually happened. All we do know is that we have a possibility of him being restrained, and now he goes into arrest. In other words, what happens is that I believe, in my opinion, that this individual was placed in restraints just because the restraints caused his blood pressure to go up above normal and actually go over the limit of what his heart could take. But the autopsy report doesn't say that. I'll get right to that real quick. Okay, so at 11:36, they said he was unresponsive. The coroner's report stated that time of death was 11:36 p.m. on the 16th. Okay. Now, let's get nasty. The coroner's report stated it was an accident, not a drug overdose. It was an accident. So who made the accident? Well, we know this, and this was actually put out in the news by a statement by Sheriff Selman and by members at the jail that they didn't book him. His booking report was completed at 12:28 p.m. I'm sorry, 12:28 a.m. That'd be 12:28 a.m. That'd be another hour before they booked him. So here's the question we need to ask. If he was dead or passed away, whatever, anyway, he wasn't among us at 11:36. The coroner has said that he was passed away at 11:36, and now we got a booking report that says that you booked him at 12:28. My question is simple. It's very simple. How can you book a dead person? How can you? For those of you who have been through the booking process at Angelina County Jail, you have to go up and you have to do your fingerprints, you have to do your photo, they ask you some questions, and then you're in custody of the jail. And that's when your booking period starts. So that's at 12:28, but you're dead at 11:36. Does anybody else see a problem with this? Does anybody else see an issue with that? Well, if these questions remain in your brain housing group, then here's the thing. Why won't they release the video? Why won't they release the video? And how does this pertain to Uvalde incident? Well, the Uvalde individuals have been trying for 2 years, okay? 2 years to get the video, the body cam video, and other videos that have not been disclosed by the DPS. That would tell us that would add to the story on Uvalde. On Uvalde, I think everybody would agree. We want to know exactly what happened there. We need to know exactly how, for going forward, how do we protect against this kind of a situation in the future, involving school children, involving multiple deaths, multiple people shot. So that's why we want to, but that's why the people want to see what they can actually do, what issues need to be taken up, and the taxpayers need to be addressed. But we're going to pay for extra security, we're going to pay for this or whatever, but we actually have to find out per video what actually happened. This is the same case. We need to find out what happened in that jail so we can prevent it from happening in the future. If there's some procedure we need to change, is there some kind of procedures that we can implement to secure the safety and the health of individuals who are being booked into the Angelina County Jail? What is the real story, and why won't you release the video? Because it's obvious the time frames that you're giving out to the public, and you can look up these articles at Lufkin Daily News. They reported it, the statement by Sheriff Selman, all this or whatever, and it just doesn't. The time frame just doesn't match up. Now, where we get a freedom of information request was actually asked for from the Angelina County Sheriff's Department. They did provide the information of the individuals who were on duty, the supervisor. They didn't provide the medical staff because the fact is that that's a contract that we have, the county has with this medical facility, and so they won't release that name, which is pivotal because the fact is that was the first person that did any kind of checking his vitals and these things or whatever. So that's kind of vital information there that we need to have this individual come forward and state exactly what happened there. And then second of all, if he was placed in restraints for some reason, if he was placed in restraints per Texas law, you have to have the supervisor and the medical personnel both agree that he needs to be in restraints. The medical personnel, okay, if you put him in restraints, it's not going to harm him. It's not going to harm him. Supervisory person, well, he is in a danger to himself and others. So I vote to have him restrained. The medical personnel has to agree to actually restrain him. If any of these situations are not prevalent, then you can't authorize restraints. The use of restraints should not have been an issue in this matter to a man who was actually was showing you per his actions that he was in distress. He was psychologically under distress. He was physically under distress, and the actions that were taken were not beneficial to his health. Whatever that they had done to him in the jail caused him to pass away. Now, we only know the video because of this, because that's will tell us the whole story. And like I said, we have had many reasons that they won't release the statement. Sheriff Selman says, well, it's part of national security, that it's a factor of inmate privacy. It's all of these issues, but that doesn't negate the fact that is that all these issues that he produces, or Kerry Kirby produces, is the fact is you can get it on email. On the internet. You can go on the internet and look up the schematics of the jail. You can look up and you can see where the cameras are. A person who goes into the Angelina County jail can come out of the jail and tell you everywhere that there's a camera. What procedures are followed, what procedures not followed. So they're a source of information. So what do? We shut them up? Do we have to sign a non-disclosure agreement now whenever we go in and we come out of Angelina County not to describe? No, we don't. It's public information, because the fact is, guess what? Even though you provide all these methods, we pay for it. It's what simple these people, we pay for that information. It is public information, as attested by Kerry Kirby. He stated that the request, what did fall in the purview, but Sheriff Selman, he didn't want to release the video. Now, here's where it gets ugly. They said, well, Sheriff Selman says he went to the people, the family, and said, hey, here's the video. They're supposed to review the video, and they were supposed to say, well, we don't want this to get out. We don't want other people to show. We're sorry, is what his words were. We're sorry that this happened. We apologize, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. Now, the family has that right. However, the fact is, constitutionally and legally, the public also has that right. Because we have a right to know what goes on with an inmate who passed away inside your jail. It doesn't have to be a public viewing. You can invite people who want to see. You can actually, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to release it to the press. Anyway, you got to make it available to people who want to see it. Some people don't want to see it, and I understand. But for law purposes and for the information that is on that tape, it is public information. And my next question is that if you did everything that you said you did on your books, why don't you have the video to back it up? First question, we're not hiding anything. Yeah, you are. You're hiding a videotape. You're hiding a videotape of a person who passed away inside your jail. You are hiding a videotape. So now they say that this is not under the purview of the Constitution. Well, H.R. 30 actually passed, and it states, even in Texas law right now, if you look at it, it states that you must release the video in any critical incident. I believe that a prisoner, an inmate passing away inside your jail should be part of that information. We should be able to see that, because the fact is that we are the taxpayers, and we need to see how it happened so it doesn't happen again. H.R. 30 also provides for the fact is that they actually provide video when it involves a critical incident, which includes death, but also includes anytime they use excessive force, anytime excessive force is used, any type of situation to where the inmate is put in jeopardy of injury or death. We have all seen Nacogdoches County. It took them 2 years to actually release a video of excessive force on an inmate that they had there. Now it's going to take, another 2 years for Angelina County can get that. Well, this ruling we just actually talked about right here is going to put light on that subject. Now, it's been said that this is not retroactive. In other words, this new law didn't take effect September the 1st. Okay. However, the fact is that it involves a death of an individual in a county facility, and it is automatically, per the old rule or the new rule, whichever one, new law, whichever one you want to look at. If it involves a death of an individual in police custody, you have to release the information. I don't know why Angelina County thinks that they're special on this, but once again, we do. There's the law, and then this is the way we do things. So I believe, and I'm still putting information out there that I have obtained. And trust me, getting this information wasn't easy. I had to go down to the court in Diboll to get the autopsy. Check this out. So when I get down to the court and Diboll, they said, well, it's going to be $1.30. I said, okay. So I pulled out my cards and my cash card. Well, we don't take credit cards. We don't take. Okay. We only take cash. I'm like, okay. Brooks Brothers Rug Street. I'll go get me a money order for $1.30. So I get down there and I said, I'm going to get a money order for $1.30. She goes, well, we can't do that. And I said, well, why not? She goes, because it's less than $10. We can't make the money out for $1.30. I'm like, okay. So I had to do some cowboy logic there. I put my card in there and made a purchase of a C4 here, and made a purchase and kept the change. Went back over there. I got cash now. I didn't have exactly $1.30. Well, we can't make change. So you want to charge me for documents. The county wants to charge us for documents, but you can't utilize all methods of payment. You have to have cash. Okay, well, I guess that's the rule or whatever. Then you have to have proper change. Okay. What I ended up having to do, I had to go up there to the front desk, actually ask them to make change for me so I could come back and give them $1.30. That's stupid or what? I told them, I said, you know what, just make it $5. I don't care. I just want the information. I don't care what you charge me. Money is not an issue. Just I just want to see the information. I was asked at the time why I wanted to see the information, because I already knew the answer. I just needed a document to prove it. Because once I seen the story, and I seen the time frames, then I seen the booking report. It was simple. Okay, this guy died at 11:36. Okay, so but he wasn't booked till 12:28. Come on, man. Attention to detail. If you were going to, and then they said, well, it was just a typo. The report was handwritten. The report was handwritten. It's not a typo. So this is the story, one of the stories that involved our county jail. This is one of the stories that involved our issues that we have with the county jail. Because of that, they're not transparent. Just saying that you are transparent and releasing some of the documents, but also holding on to documents that are required by the Freedom of Information Request is actually stated in this judgment. You're disclosing some information, but you're not being held fully accountable because you hide certain documents or information or material. In this case, the judge actually ruled you release all information. They had to go to court. Now, that is just the criminal court. I'm sure, and I'm almost positive that I know at least 7 or 8 people of the victims or the victims' families have started a civil lawsuit over this one issue, because the fact is they didn't fully disclose the information. How many years does it take for civil action to go through? Well, it's Texas. As Miss Tatum stated one time, there is no speedy trial in Texas. Bullshit. There is everywhere else. Why ain't there here? But once again, I attribute all this, and this goes back to the same thing. It goes back to the fact is that we're not fully, we don't fully disclose information that are entitled to. We we get portions of the information. We get information they want us to see. The full information portal is gone. They just pick and choose what they want to let you see. So you don't have enough information to put it all together. But when you make small mistakes, it takes people who actually pay attention to detail and start asking questions. Do not assume everything they send you is the whole story, because it's not. This is where we have a transparency issue in Angelina County and across many Southeast Texas counties in Southeast Texas, because the fact is that this has been going on forever and nobody's questioned it. This lays in the roots of all our issues that we have, whether it be the roads, the zoning of your property, if it's a county road or city road, or who's responsible, whatever. They only give you enough information to prove that they're right, but they don't give you the full information. So that's where you come in. You got to do research, and you got to look it up, and you got to actually produce the law and actually put it in front of their nose and say, hey, this is what it says here. Another common area that they will make that our district attorney and our county attorney are both guilty of this, is that, say, for example, you're asking for something and they don't want to provide it. Well, guess what? They refer it to the attorney general for an opinion. Okay. An opinion on the law is what they're stating. Okay. I didn't ask for attorney general opinion. You're an attorney. You're practicing law in Angelina County. I don't need to go to a third party. I don't need my freedom of information request to go to an individual who can add and delete what he wants in there to make the county look good or cover up for the county. I sent this freedom of information to you. You say, yes, I can release it. No, I can't release it. If you can't release it or you refuse to release it, need to know in writing within 10 to 14 days. And if it's illegal, then guess what? You're subject to a lawsuit. Not only that, but the county will be too. Now, many people come after me and says, well, why are you stirring up shit? You're always stirring. No, I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm pointing out the truth and the facts to you people so you can make your own educated decision. So you can say, well, they're not telling me the complete truth. And how do I get the real story? How do I get all the information? Well, they should provide it to you, but they don't. So you have to take other methods. We see this going across the board with Angelina County. We had a denial of a trial for a district attorney from an outside attorney. An outside attorney had to be brought in, or an outside judge had to be brought in because of conflict of interest. But these issues still need to be brought before court. Because the fact is that old saying, remember that saying, remember when you was a kid, you can't fight City Hall? Well, you can't. But we do have the tool. We back in the day, that was true. Now, into this day, we do have the tools to do so. We have the Freedom of Information Act. We have laws that are actually pertaining to these individuals who are not adhering to the Freedom of Information Act. We have laws that are stating of what their requirements are when an incident happens or something happens to the county. We do have an opportunity to receive that information. Now, why have we had an increase in freedom of information requests? Well, first of all, here's what, for me, this is for me. I ask for information because the fact is that you're not telling me the whole story. I don't want to bog your office down. I don't want to, but I want you to tell me the truth. I want you to tell me exactly what I asked for. If I say all electronic methods, I mean all electronic methods. I don't need to be clear on that. This is another tactic they use. Well, it's unclear. It's too broad. It's unclear. This is a part of the game, because normally you just get frustrated, you just get tired, and you're like, shit. Over the last 5 years, there have been multiple lawsuits filed against Angelina County Jail. Multiple. You haven't seen them. Why? Because the person gets out of jail, they have to go through the paperwork, they have to go through the filing fees, they have to go through all this. And it's just every time you go up another route, it costs you some more money. It costs you more money. Well, we're talking about individuals who don't have that kind of, we don't have $50,000 to spend on documents. It's supposed to be free to us with a waiver if we're declared indigent. We can't make a payment, or we can't make that payment. There's laws against that. You request a waiver. A lot of people don't know that. But the fact of the matter is that each rung you take makes them circle the wagons closer to hide information that you have a total right to, especially when it pertains to you or a situation that's important to you. Mr. Smallwood's case is just one of many that I'll be reporting on. Pretty soon people start saying, hey, we need to really know what's going on. And that's what I'm asking for, is that, maybe enough people will start asking questions to where we'll get down to the real deal and what actually happened and why they just did not disclose it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, I don't know if anybody watches this or what, but I'm posting it everywhere I can. I'm posting it to other social media because the fact is, I don't really get a lot of followers here on Facebook or anybody that actually reads it. However, the fact is, by individuals that I've got in my group and I've maintained contact with that deal with these kind of issues in their counties, we are slowly spreading the word, and we are actually comparing notes on how we can actually get away from these avoidance of the laws by our county, and by actually finding out the real story to the real deal. And so if you're not asking questions and you think I'm full of bullshit, that's fine, because there's a lot of people who don't. And there's a lot of people who are actually looking at Angelina County now. And I don't want to post threats or anything, but what I'm saying is that if there's enough people start asking, especially outside of the county, then Texas is going to be involved, and the regulatory agencies of Texas are going to be involved. And once that starts happening, then all the truth is going to come out. And then you're going to be sitting there, well, where the hell was I when all that was going on? I didn't know that was going on. I don't know. I didn't know that. If I'd known that then, I'd have changed my mind. Yeah, well, sorry, do not talk to you. I'm not thirsty. But that's where you start. Start by asking questions, but be mindful that when you start asking questions, if you're ready to handle the truth and what's actually really going on. You guys be good, be careful. Once again, share the page, share people who you think will like it. If you don't like it, pass it forward, whatever. But anyway, I try to make a video a day to keep you up to current events or whatever, and actually make you start thinking what's really going on. You guys be good, be careful. I'm out.